welcome to my brand new scenario and series Kaisser Imperium, or what if the German Empire in this case won the First World War. Hope you enjoyed. It's going to be a pretty short series, but yeah. So we start in 1914, in June of 1914 to be exact, with the assassination in Sarajevo and the death of the Archduke of Austria. I mean, at least the heir. The death of Franz Ferdinand, and well, as you all know, Austria declares war on Serbia. Montenegro joins the war on the side of Serbia. Then you got Russia joining the war against Austria-Hungary. Then Germany, and then France. You know the deal. So the first change in this timeline is that Germany is going to focus on Russia first instead of France. The reason? Simple. Well, both area of this the border of France and Germany is heavily fortified on both sides. So obviously, you can just focus on Russia and pretty much know advances are going to be made on the Western fronts because, well, of the mentioned fortification. Germany is instead going to focus on Russia, taking Poland, and then of course you got Austria-Hungary helping against Russia, mainly focusing on the southern eastern fronts. Against this river here, I forgot the name, and getting a lot of them against Russia. No, at some point, obviously, Russia is going to try a counter-offensive. Their counter-offensive going pretty well until, because of supply issues, it doesn't, and it just stops. Now again, like I said, even though there's fortification there, France at some point, because we were literally, in the mindset of we don't care how many dies, we just want to kill Germany. At some point, the fortification are going to not be able to hold all of the French forces, and the French are going to be able to break a little against the fortification, which will force to slow down the invasion in the eastern front to move forces to the western one. Like in our timeline, Serbia just managed to repel any invasion attempt, and at some point Bulgaria receives a letter from, both sides actually, like in our timeline. And like in our timelines, they're going to choose the Central Power deal because it gives them, gain Macedonia, and well, at this point, the Ottomans they're just joined, and immediate gain in Thrace, and yeah, it's all that you gotta say to make the Bulgarian enters war, and so they do help, Hungary Austria-Hungary capitulating Serbia, and yes, they help a lot in this. And of course, well, like in our timeline, the Serbian forces are going to pass through Albania to run away, and similar to our timeline, Austria-Hungary is going to do a friendly invasion, bro. Trust me, it's a friendly invasion, bro. And we're just checking in for Serbian, soldiers and shit. Yeah, trust. Everything's fine there. Like in our timeline, also Italy will join the Entente after the signing the Treaty of London of 1915. And like in our timeline, Italy is shit and will literally lose Venice to Austria. Wow, amazing. GG. Against the Ottomans, The Russians are still pushing on the Caucasian mountains, although not as much because, they're a bit distracted over here. They got things to deal with. Yeah. And so at some point, the reinforcement came in, and, they realized that, pushing through here, that's going to be really, really hard because, the French now not only have their own fortification, but also some of the captured fortification from the Germans. So they're like, yeah, that's just not going to be worth it. So instead, they use the Schlieffen plan to go in Belgium and Luxembourg. Like in our timeline, Belgium will receive the ultimatum, they will refuse, and Germany will just invade. And also invade Luxembourg, because why not? And yeah, so with the Germans, not only threatening Paris, but also, a huge encirclement here. The French have to, quickly retreat, which makes them lose a lot of land. Germany also focuses on closing on Paris. And like in our timeline, they approach Paris and then gets pushed back a little, setting the trench warfare like in our timeline for the Western Front. So yeah, this allowed, this distraction allowed for the Russian to push back against Germany, mainly Germany, because, it's German forces on the Western Front. Austria-Hungary is Austria-Hungary. But yeah, also, occupation line on Serbia are, dealt with, and so an official technical peace deal slash capitulation of Serbia is made, similar to our timeline. And yeah, it's the exact same as in our timeline, so yeah. The Ottomans managed to push back against the Russian, although not by much, and when, a lot of people die and they can't push back, let's say that the Armenians are not going to have a good time, yeah. Well, let's say that, yeah. If you know, you know. Now, with the Western Front, once it's fixed, once the Western Front is fixed, once the Western Front problem is fixed, then you set up in trench warfare. In trench warfare, the Germans are also taking some of the forces there to put them there, at least back there, because they were mainly here, and restart the offensive. And this time, they're focusing on the northern, the Baltic state, to closing in on St. Petersburg, which was the capital of the time. So they focus and gets really close. There's also, taking the front lines just to prevent encirclement, and yes, they're really, really, really close to St. Petersburg. So yeah, that's a bad thing for Russia. Austria-Hungary is also, pushing, but not by much. But Russia prepares also, like in our timeline, a counter-offensive against Austria-Hungary, which, like in our timeline, is kind of successful, at least in the beginning, making Romania join the Entente, killing fuel land there, helping until, this Russian offensive, it goes well, and at some point it doesn't. So, yeah, Romania, Romania, yeah, that was a bad idea. Yeah, that maybe it was a bad idea. I'm just saying, but like, yeah, maybe that was a bad idea. So, Romania surrenders, and yeah, people are kind of tired of this happening in Russia. So that happens. Yeah, that, yeah, yeah, that's pretty bad. And yeah, ooh, yeah, yeah, in the major cities too, huh? Yeah, so with this happening, and the German being really close to St. Petersburg, the end of the Russian Civil War starting, the Bolsheviks are going to do the same thing as in our timeline, which was a very stupid thing. Basically, Soviets, the Bolshevik at the time didn't want to be at war with Germany because that was the whole reason the revolution started. But at the same time, they couldn't just lose all that as they want because they kind of feared the Germans. So what they did is they just they said to Germany that they were stop going to war and just left the front line without any soldiers. And like in our timeline, Germany is just like, well, don't mind if I do. And also Austria-Hungary is doing this because, well, they're also here, they exist. And like in our timeline, at some point when the Bolsheviks realized that this doesn't work, they actually go to the Germans and do a treaty of capitulation. So let's do a modified version of the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. So here's a modified Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Finland, which is a bit bigger than the original. Those states, with Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and those two there, and Turkestanish thing here. Yeah. So yeah, Boris-Litovsk, baby. Also in like our timeline, Germany is not going to do the Telegram thing. I feel like that's kind of obvious. They are instead going to now focus on France. And first of all, they take most of Belgium. Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't mention the colonial front, but I feel like you all know where this is going. Yeah, this gets capitulated, this gets capitulated, this gets captured. This colony still asks to fight to the death, but at the end of the day, it's still not going to do much, and they're still going to get captured. Australia is still going to capture this. I feel like I don't need to explain, and the port there, yeah, it's Japanese now. I feel like I didn't need to explain this, but yeah. Also, I think just most of the time forget, yeah, is that the Italian economy was not great. This one was a reason why after the war they were KO, and it was barely doing better than Spain's economy. And if you know anything about Spain, yes, the Spanish economy at that time was kind of destroyed, because they kind of lost their colony there. So Italy wasn't doing. I mean, they were doing better, but not that much better. And so in Kaisser imperium, it's so bad with this war. Did they get a revolution? Yeah, it's this bad. It's this level of bad. So what's gonna happen is that Austria is just going to profit of this. The Italian government's kind of not there, and the French are going to try and help because they're still alive, but yeah, that's basically useless. I mean, they don't even really have much forces to spare. So, and doing this, that means more soldiers there. So, and the French army was already having mutinies and all that. So that means also revolution there. Damn, that's bad. That's really bad. No, the Germans are not going to allow for that. So they're going to send a letter to France. You surrender, and we help you deal with that. Yeah, that right there. And honestly, it's not like France has really much to because if they don't, they're just going to get crushed. So they accept, and well, Britain because after that they also have like loans to repay to America, so they're like, yeah, we're surrendering. Yeah, like, wait, almost didn't even notice that. You didn't see anything. This was always British. Anyway, so peace deal, guys. Oh wait, yeah, almost forgot Greece before that. So Greece still got its national schism thing, and they trying to join like right before the moment where the revolution in Italy starts. So they join the war on the side of the Entente. There, yeah, yeah. I feel like no, just in case, because I kind of forget it, but like just in case it wasn't so obvious. Yeah, that yeah, Greece is dead, kinda. Okay, so now we can get to the peace deal. And so here's the final peace deal. The Ottomans regain Libya. Ottoman Egypt is reaffirmed, even though technically Egypt was still a part of the Ottoman Empire, but under British control. There, it's literally under it's a puppet of the Ottomans, although the Ottomans don't really have much control because it's the end for the Ottomans. They're pretty weak. The Ottomans take the French colony there as well as the British colony of Somalia. They take the puppet of Yemen, that's the British, and same for like these are now Ottomans puppets. Armenia is now an Ottoman puppet. Georgia and Azerbaijan are contested between Germany and the Ottomans. Those two things are just there. They're not going to live long. There's a puppet of no one because nobody cares about that. They're like supposed to be buffer state. Ukraine and Romania, or like half of Romania, are puppets to Austria. Hungary made the puppet in the southern part of Romania, dividing the state into like back in the days. Those yeah, those things are German puppets. So is Finland. Belgium puppet of Germany is made. Yeah, almost forget to giving some land there. Yeah, it also gets some land, of course, because of course it does. So there, France has accepted the deal in exchange to destroy those communist rebels. So that's still normal France. Italy is still there, although like this exists. This is a communist Italy. This is a kingdom of Lombardia, which is a puppet of Austria, of course. Serbia and Montenegro, which is a puppet of Austria, is made. Bulgaria is happy. Greece is not happy. Oh yeah, Middle Africa is made. Yeah, you almost forgot about that. And Germany gains all of Papua, and that's pretty much it. And this was the end of Kaisser Imperium episode 1. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time, I guess. And yeah, next episode it's going to be the revolts across the world and all that.